Welcome to Upthinking Finance, a podcast that offers a unique and discerning view of economics and financial planning. Here is your host, Emerson Fersch.
Welcome to another episode of Upthinking Finance. French poet and journalist Anatole France once wrote, "Until one has loved an animal, a part of one's soul remains unawakened." Now, this episode is for anybody that loves animals and particularly dogs. And I should start by saying we have a little plaque in our living room that's got an anonymous quote that says, "Saving one dog will not change the world, but surely for that one dog, the world will change forever." Darcy and I have been blessed to have 5 cats and 7 dogs in our home over the years we've been married. And all but one, I guess, would be considered an official rescue, which was our English Bulldog, Banachek. He was the first dog that came home with us, although he was in a pretty seedy pet store, so you could say he was rescued from that environment. But all of our cats and dogs over the years, other than Banachek, have come from rescue facilities, from foster care setups. And today's guest is going to explain to us what really goes on in this world of husky rescues, particularly the people that are involved in the dedication and love for these animals that really exists in kind of a lesser known aspect of I guess what you could categorize as a charitable or philanthropic work that goes on in the world. Our guest today, his name is Tim McVicker. He also goes by the name Master Wolf, and he's the president of Shadow Husky Rescue, which is located in Menifee, California. And the rescue is actually named the #1 husky rescue in California by We Love Doodle's website just a couple of months ago. Tim says he found his animal soulmate when he rescued his first husky, named Shadow, in 2006. But says that ever since he was a little boy that he was passionate about rescuing animals. He says he would feed the stray dogs while he was at school. He'd give them their lunch, and then they'd follow him home, and he'd have to hide them in the closet and pray that his dad didn't find them there. The mission at Shadow Husky Rescue is pretty straightforward. It's to rescue huskies that are displaced, unwanted, abused, lost, abandoned, or scheduled for euthanasia, and provide them with a second chance at life by finding them permanent homes. And I can tell you, we've been blessed by Shadow Husky Rescue to bring home 2 beautiful dogs. The first was Hatchi, who was a large Siberian Husky. He only was with us a month. He had a hard life and ended up dying of a brain tumor not long after we brought him home. But I can tell you his last days with us were great. And then Storm, who's been with us now for about 4 years, and he's just a beautiful, kind, gentle soul of a dog. And so grateful today to share this podcast with you. Okay, so it's my pleasure today to welcome Tim McVicker and Liz, his wife, who's our bonus guest today, coming to us from Shadow Husky Rescue in Menifee. Welcome to Upthinking Finance.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
This is my wife, Liz, and I'm Master Wolf. That's what they call me.
Master Wolf McVicker. Yeah, that's a pretty cool name. They could use that for the next episode of Top Gun. I mean, Master Wolf would be a cool, right?
That's right.
So,
Exactly.
Definitely a fan.
yeah. So I guess the first thing I'd say is why, I mean, out of all the different dog breeds, what lured you to love Huskies and start the rescue?
I really didn't know much about Huskies at first. I thought to myself, it'd be nice to have a Husky. I saw some Husky movies, and I'm thinking, well, they're really cool animals, you know. So I ended up, went through a bad divorce, and I went into the Orange County shelter, and I found Shadow. He was, I couldn't believe it. They said he had 1 day left. And I couldn't believe they're going to kill this beautiful dog. He's gorgeous. He's about 10 years old. He was older. So the chances of Huskies actually surviving shelters at that age is pretty bad. So I ended up pulling him after my divorce because my ex-wife wouldn't let me have just have little dogs and not big dogs. So when I left her, I went out and I got Shadow probably a month right after my divorce. He really was amazing. I couldn't believe it. And I put him through therapy school. I ended up making him a therapy dog. And he did really, really well with people. He loved people. And it kind of got me out there too. I really needed something at that point because it was a bad divorce. I went up in the mountains with them up in Ortega, up in the Ortegas. And I had my trailer. I bought a 5th wheel and went up there and lived with Shadow for about 7 years. And it's hard to talk about it, but he really, really helped me through everything. And I took him to a lot of places and resting homes and convalescent centers. And and things, and it really helped me get healed up too through the divorce. And he did so good, and that's how I rescued got the name. But while I'm out with my husky, I go to dog parks all the time, talking to people and meeting people with their huskies, and I ended up running into Liz at the Irvine Dog Park, and that's where we started. We met there, and she had three huskies at the time.
Oh my gosh!
And I had actually, yeah, and I had Shadow, and so we ended up. Yeah, I got Harley too. I got another one down the road, so I ended up having two huskies. I had Harley and Shadow, and we hit it off. I really thought she was cute, and the huskies kind of join in the dog parks together because they're like magnets. When another husky sees one husky, they're all in their pack.
They're just like pack dogs, yeah.
So that's how I met.
And our family grew from there.
Yeah, our family definitely grew from there. But it was amazing to meet somebody that was into dogs like I was, huskies. So that was really important to me.
So here's a question, because for people that don't own huskies, because we've had bull breeds, which they have their own personalities and they're pretty cool. There's aspects of the bulldog, that I miss, but the huskies are just there's like, yeah. Can you explain to somebody what it is about the husky breed that just is such a draw?
Well, they're human oriented for one thing. They love humans, and they're working dogs. They want to perform for you. They want you to love them, and the more you love them, the more they love you, and it's just kind of contagious at that point. And you really get a bond with these dogs. It's different than any other breed that I've ever been with, and the huskies just are amazing. So that's the big part of owning a husky is experiencing that, and they just really get into your soul deep, and it's just amazing.
Yeah,
amen. Unconditional love.
Yeah, unconditional love, big time.
Yeah, no, we only have the two now, but we plan our lives around everything. I mean, we don't kennel them. We're traveling, and one of us would stay back and take care of the dogs. They're family members, and us and our son would go out and travel. So it is definitely a lifestyle for sure. So how do you start a rescue? I mean, that's a kind of I'd be curious to just get an idea how you really begin to get your name out. How does that work?
Liz and I, we were renting in Lake Elsinore, and we had 8 dogs.
Yeah, we grew to
8 18. Dogs. We grew 18 after that, but we started with 8, and people we'd take them to dog parks, right? We take them down Laguna Niguel area, and we take them to Irvine Dog Park, and people would love to see us. And we, legally you have to have. There's 3 dogs per person, so you have to bring in your friends to help you. So we'd have chaperones. We'd have people help us, and they love when they saw our huskies coming in. It got to be really amazing.
Yeah, and then it kind of grew from word to mouth. So people knew we were at the dog park. They would get our name and contact us, and people would approach us at the dog parks. Can you take this dog? Can you take that dog? What about Elsa?
Yeah, Elsa. Oh boy, Elsa. They found in a trash bin. It was Paramount at a Home Depot, and she was shaved. She was probably less than a year old.
She had just given birth. And they called us because she was a little bit too big for the little dog rescue. And so we ended up taking, that was almost one of our first rescues there. But we took her in, and Elsa's one of the most beautiful dogs we have. She's just unbelievable. We got pictures of her. I think the story's on our website too. We also went to the dog park locally in Lake Elsinore, at McVicker's Park, where we still go once a month now for our husky takeovers. Yeah. No relation. McVicker's Park is wonderful. But some of the people would look at us in awe and say, "Why do you have so many huskies? What are you doing in this park?" So we didn't really have all of our friends were in Orange County at the time, so we had very less escorts and chaperones here. So eventually we said, "Well, why don't we just become a rescue?" And made it legitimate.
I got a big emblem on the back of my F-250. It's Shadow Husky Rescue, and that's our emblem we have out today. And that just quieted everybody down. Oh, you're a rescue, okay.
We also reached our limit on how many dogs we could take into our household, so we decided we would start adopting them out and getting fosters.
Here's the thing, because I know Storm, if as I recall, he had about 3 hours.
Riverside Shelter.
Can you walk people through? And I barely got through the intro without losing it. Okay, so I get it.
Yeah.
And it's anyway. But can you walk people through kind of the typical how from beginning to end, the rescue and just kind of how this whole process works? Because I think it's really interesting, and it's sort of one of those stories that just seems to have a beautifully happy ending. And if you could share your typical kind of one of those experiences, that'd be great.
The shelters reach out to us all the time and say, this dog's red listed, it's going to get killed, tomorrow or the next day or so. And we get the dog and we post it on Facebook trying to find foster for it, because we can't really do much unless we have foster. It's so important.
And explain that. So who are these foster people and how do you connect with them?
Well, they see our posts and they know what we do. And I send them a foster application. So when I get videos of their yard or I go check their yard, their fencing is really important. It's just people that want to save dogs. They help us, and then we get them in the foster home, then we can adopt them out. But I'm telling you, about 95% of our adopters adopt. So it's like, once you get a husky, you don't really realize how much they're really going to
foster fails.
Yeah, we call them foster failures, and it's so true. So, but yeah, the shelters, they reach out and they get us to pull these. They want us to pull these dogs. We pull them, and they're last minute dogs. Every one we pull is ones that aren't going to make it in there, and that's so important to get them out. And they're all great dogs. If they got a little aggression or something, it's usually because huskies don't like to be caged up. So the problem is they'll bite the handler, or try to get out of the cage, and so they get a bad rap from that point on. And I go in these rescues, I'm not even worried. In the back of my mind, I'm thinking, well, what if? But it never had. Every time I rescue these aggressive dogs, they're great. I pull them out. I get them some of them make me put them in a cage, put them in the back of my F-250. I open the door when I'm out of the parking lot, and they go out and they go through my cargo window and jump in my front seat. And and I'm known for the Freedom Burger. I give them freedom meals, so. So it's really amazing, and they get their freedom meal, and I post all that on Facebook, so you can see all my posts and what I do when I go into rescue, and I love them up, and and I get to kind of experience the way they are and what to look out for, and I kind of tell the foster, be careful, don't do this, don't put your hands in his face until they decompress. The decompression stage usually takes about 8 weeks where they're really decompressed, but give them about 3 days, a lot of love, and kind of let them come up to you and be real careful. These are more dogs that are more scared, but they all pull out of it. All of them pull out of it. It's amazing to watch them. And we get updates, and we're always posting them to show people that these dogs are not vicious.
Number one with the husky is the foster has to accept the husky and be patient with all their behavioral issues.
Yeah.
Once you accept the husky, then the husky will open up and accept you.
Mm-hmm. So that's really important for the foster.
So how many, if I can ask, how many of these kind of relationships do you have in your area? Is this literally just in, I guess, the Riverside area, or is this, you guys have contacts all over the state?
Oh, no, we got fosters up in Northern California, Arizona, Nevada.
Oh, wow.
We got them everywhere, and a lot of times some of these dogs are in other shelters in other states, and people offer to, pull them.
And we also sometimes have owners that need to relinquish their dog and tell them.
Oh man, I've been swamped with owner surrenders lately. The shelters are full, so they're denying these people to relinquish their huskies, and it's so sad because a lot of them have been just dumped in the back alley, and so you're seeing huskies running around, and it's really sad. So the surrenders, I've really been concentrating more on them right now, but we do get the red listed ones coming in this last week. I think we saved 4, right?
Yeah.
4 red lists out of Inland Valley.
Sometimes our own dogs need to be rehomed too. We could discuss that other dog we have in Missouri, Pepsi.
Oh yeah. Pepsi was adopted out in Missouri. We found somebody that lived
5 miles.
5 miles away from that person. So we were able to rehome Pepsi
In our network of contacts.
Yeah, in our network of contacts with people on Facebook. And so that dog Pepsi got into another home. He's doing great. So that was kind of a stroke of luck. But it does happen.
We have a dog in need.
Yeah.
No, and I can see you got a baby sleeping behind you over there.
Oh, yeah. That's one of our newbies this week.
Yeah, actually, two of them. There's one on the bed behind you too. Oh my gosh.
Let's see. Yeah, they're all over. We got pillows all over the house. We live with our Huskies, you know, and
Well, so
sleep with us. They're all around us.
no,
What's that?
I was going to say we have a place in Montana that we just bought that's got a huge backyard, you know, and of course the snow and the weather there, and I can just see once we get there full time that, you know, two won't be.
Yeah.
Okay, whoever's listening to the podcast, you're going to need to go to the YouTube channel because we're getting a live introduction. Now, who's this baby?
This is Rosie. She was just rescued this week. She was going to get killed in Inland Valley.
Oh
She was in there from, I think it was March 15th. So over a month is about all they get. Then they get put down. You know? Rosie.
So pretty good.
So we took on another one out of there. I videoed another one in there, which is our little girl that was laying here. Where'd she go? Oh, come here. This is Jenny. Jenny.
Oh my gosh.
Jenny, come here.
Upthinking Finance on YouTube, folks. If you want to see these dogs, they're just gorgeous.
Yeah, Jenny was going to be put down too, and she is such a joy. She runs around with
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, they said she was 5. She's probably not even 1. We got her groomed, and look how white and gorgeous.
Beautiful.
She loves Rosie. They run all over our property. They're everywhere, and it's just, you know, Rosie needs somebody more her age because we got all seniors here. You know?
Yeah.
We're a sanctuary, so it was kind of nice. It's like a spark to our pack, you know. That when we brought these two in, we've lost 4 this past year. Just
Hey, let me ask you a question. You mentioned this earlier, but this is actually a point because we had an American Bulldog that was rescued, Truman, and he was just an awesome dog, but he never got rid of he had anxiety, you know, it just was something that he never really overcame. But it's interesting because I've noticed, yeah, as you said it, the Huskies that we've brought in, we've had 3 now, seem to, like you said, once they get the routine, they know that they're in a safe environment and that they have this loving, they seem to get past a lot of that trauma pretty well.
Oh,
Is that a fair statement?
They all do. I get people that say, you're right, you know, after 8 weeks, this dog is gorgeous and it's behaving and it's doing this and that, and they're really close. And, you know, we get that all the time. It's just the more you put into them, the more you'll get out, the more they'll give you. You know, it's tenfold when you give them a lot of attention. You love them up. But yeah, this little girl, on my Facebook, you'll see the post on her clawing at the cage when I was in there and I videotaped her. And I didn't know if we were going to be able to pull her or not. You know, we did find a foster, but it didn't really work out very good. So
here's a question then. You have these foster homes. How long, assuming, like you said, the foster family doesn't keep the dog, how long do they normally stay before they get placed? Is there any kind of a general, or is it just all over the place?
It is. It's all over. Just same with the surrenders. You never know. I post them, and all of a sudden I give them a place the next day. But some other times it's a month or two, you know. And then there's some that we never get placed. So it all varies. It really does. You never know. But like I say, most of the fosters adopt them. So the foster failures, and that's usually what we're kind of counting on.
Yeah.
Because we know the personality of these guys, and they're going to fall in love. It's going to get deep, you know, deep in their heart and their soul.
Yeah. In fact, the family, you probably remember, I don't, because Darcy, we were actually in Greenland when Storm came to our home, but I remember they didn't want to let him go. I mean, that was hard for them to let us take him, you know. They were clearly attached.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this. I'm hoping and assuming you get some kind of outside support, donations of some kind, or do you? And if you do, how does that help? I mean, there's got to be a lot of costs that most of us don't realize. I mean, I imagine feeding 18 dogs gets pretty expensive.
I'll let Liz, she's good with that
We're
stuff.
definitely very grassroots. We were founded in October 2015, so we're going to be 8 this year.
Wow.
And we do have quite a few recurring donors, but we are always doing campaigns, fundraisers. And for example, we're going to do one in San Clemente on April 22nd. We're doing a dog bed drive and at a garage sale. One of our supporters is having a huge garage sale at our home, so maybe you could come join us. Love to see you. And we did a Seas Candies fundraiser. We've done calendars. We've had our calendar for the last 4 years. That's always one of our largest fundraiser. But we've got property in County, San Diego. That's we're hoping to develop and build a rescue where we could hold dogs that are adoptable, board.
It's good to go. We put a lot of money into the privacy fencing, and I got a well we put in there that's gorgeous. It's just unbelievable. Well, we hit the aquifer over there, and I can't believe the water. But now we need the money to put the home on there and get it set up. But we'd like to have it as kind of a hub, maybe for halfway house.
We do have our home, which is we have our sanctuary dogs. So a lot of our dogs here are unadoptable. We have blind, epileptic dogs that have had behavioral problems or who have had incidents at their owners' homes. So they all come to our house and live the rest of their lives, and we deal with each one individually and take care of them for life.
Harry, we took in here. His ears were all messed up. He had calcium down in there. We had to have ear canal surgery and remove his ear canals. But he was fighting because he was in pain all the time. And the owners gave him up, and he got out somehow. He ended up at Friends of the Valley down here. They called us because our chip was on that. The name was on that chip. So she calls us. I said, "Yeah, we'll pick him up." We brought him here, and he has the best life here. I made a hairy ramp out here for him because he's older and it's hard to get up our stairs. So I made a concrete ramp down. So I posted all that. It was a lot of fun. He goes up and down the ramp, and he's so happy.
Do you guys have like arrangements with vets? I mean, again, these are all these costs. I guess I imagine that it's got to get expensive. Do you have like connections or networks where they provide services for you or help support you in any way?
Well, because we are a 501c3 charity based, get a discount at vets. However, we, like other rescues in California, are currently suffering tremendously as a result, because every single dog that needs a surgery, you can estimate a minimum $2,500.
Yeah.
And depending on the type of surgery, if it's a broken bone or if it's a fracture or some other type of surgery, it can go up to $10,000 or $12,000. We had one dog last year that cost us over $20,000. And she was an epileptic dog. She had to have a series of different procedures, including an MRI. But we always have problems with that. And I wish that we could find a vet that had reduced costs, but it's just not so, especially in California. California is extremely expensive.
So really, people that can donate cash, that you have, like you said, recurring people and others, that there's just so many different food and medical care and all these things. I mean, it's just a lot. And it sounds like you're not afraid of making sure the dog gets the care. I mean, $20,000, we had a bulldog, our first dog, we called him the $6 million dog because within the first week, we had to take him to emergency twice down in Fountain Valley. And one was a breathing problem. The next time he was coughing up blood. And it just went on from there. We probably spent $40,000-$50,000 on that dog between all the skin problems and the knee replacements. But I remember the first night we had him, and I remember, the second time after the emergency, we were lying in bed. I'm asking Darcy, "So how far are we going to go with this?" That was where my brain was at the time. And she goes, "How much do we have in the account?" So I pretty much knew. It's like, okay, but that was it. They're family, right? There's no, you don't cut corners. I mean, you do what you got to do.
And we have dogs. Cancer is one especially very hard ailment. We had melanoma recently. A dog passed away.
It spreads fast. And it was tonsil. It was Lobo. I loved Lobo. Yeah. I rescued him. And it didn't work out in a home. Their dog. So we ended up taking Lobo, and he was older. And it went into his tonsil and got his lymph nodes, took that out, and it went down into his leg. He couldn't walk. Poor guy, that was in his lung. It traveled so fast within 2 months.
Yeah. And we had 3 surgeries within that month to remove the lumps that kept growing.
Wow.
And radiation. He
I took him for radiation. Yeah, down at Carlsbad, VCA. Probably 4 or 5 visits there. So, it's really sad. You get close to these guys, but he had the best life here. Lobos followed me everywhere.
One of the things that we do is we put everything on Facebook and social media. Mostly Facebook we rely upon, and we're very transparent. We tell the stories of the dogs. We provide updates.
Yeah.
When a dog gets adopted, we'll mention the adoption. We do all sorts of announcements, and people appreciate that. I think they want to know what's going on, especially those who've been with us for so many years, like you have.
No, you guys are great. So here's a question. So you get a call from, and I'm just, again, trying to give people some context here. So you get a call at any hour of the day saying, I've got this dog, from one of these kill shelters. They have this dog. It's got an hour or two. What's the next thing? What's your next move?
My first question is, do we have a foster? Because we can't just bring them here,
Yeah.
We need a foster. And I always ask them, do you have a foster? We get everybody bombing us 24/7 on death row dogs all over the country. But do you have a foster? But they don't come up with a foster. They just want to put the dog on our lap, and we can't do it. We don't have a facility. If we ended up getting a big donation, we could put it out to Warner Springs where we're at.
But I could give you an example that's more pertinent. For example, last week, Tim did get a call from the shelter regarding 2 puppies, and Tim was the first rescue that was contacted. And we're, by the way, the #1 husky rescue in California right now. We'll send you the link. So Tim got the call on these 2 puppies, and the shelter did not want the puppies to get adopted by the general public because they're not, we don't know who they are. So we have an ability to actually inspect and do interviews and home checks and whatnot to get a proper candidate. And Tim, sure enough, I think within a matter of an hour and a half, found someone that was interested in adopting both puppies, 2 brothers.
Yeah, we just got updates. They're so cute. They're holding paws together. They're so bonded.
He picked them up the next morning, which was Saturday of this last week, and took them straight to their house. And they adopted them on the spot, which is unusual because that's against our policy of 1 week foster to adopt.
Yeah, that's another program that I developed, and I really wanted it to be a good fit for human and beast. We want everybody to be happy. So I give everybody a week, and it's non-refundable donation. But we only charge $250. We're under all the other rescues, and we get criticized. We don't charge them. But the main thing is to get these dogs in good homes, and so $250 is really nothing. I don't think.
No. And another example we had, I think it was November of last year. We got contacted from the VCA veterinary hospital because we have a very good relationship with all the specialty vets. We rely more on the specialty vets than we rely on the general vets. And surprisingly, their rates are comparable to the regular vets. So we like to go to specialists, internists, oncologists, surgeons, and get consultations, as well as getting the proper testing, CT scans from the proper facilities that specialize in them. We know that the equipment is modernized. Okay, but we got the phone call from the VCA Marietta. There was a dog that had been with them on palliative care. The San Jacinto shelter delivered the dog, and it had been hit by a car. Its pelvis was completely broken. It was actually run over by a car.
It's all
broken up. So we were notified, unfortunately, I think on day 8 or 9, right after the shelter had picked up the dog to take to the shelter for euthanasia. And so we were able to intercept that transport, and Tim picked up the dog and brought him to a different VCA that had the appropriate surgeon on board at Carlsbad, and his name was Shadow. So we figured Shadow, how could we not take Shadow after that name? And he had 4 different surgeries to fix his pelvis, and now he is going through physical therapy in Long Beach near you. And he is having laser treatments. He's doing underwater treadmill now. He's had acupuncture. And so we're continuing to oversee his care. He's in a foster. still, who will soon be available for adoption.
Yeah, you want to talk about Davis?
We're not sure. We have someone very special who may want to adopt him, but we don't know if she's going to do it. Yeah, she's a very special person. Yeah.
Hey, let me ask you this, because I read this somewhere about during the COVID that there was more adoptions of dogs. Did you see that trend? People were home more, and is that something that impacted? Okay.
Yeah, that's why the surrenders, I think.
Now they're all running loose.
Yeah. Okay. Now they're going back to work, and they realize Huskies can't be left alone.
No
intelligence on these guys. You don't leave them alone, especially after you pull them or they get into the home. They got to be with you. If you leave them alone, you're going to have problems. They're going to try to get out and find you. That's why they're labeled escape artists.
Yeah, we're getting calls all the time that the shelters are not accepting owner surrenders.
Yeah, they aren't even accepting them. These poor people are sitting there with these dogs, and what do they do? I get calls. My phone, I have to keep the ringer off because it rings all day long. People giving up their dogs all over.
I've got a bit of an opinion on that because, to me, you go out and get a Husky. You really, they're beautiful dogs, but it's a commitment you guys are living it. But, our dogs, every morning we're up 5:30 walking them, then we have an afternoon walk. Tulak, our new Malamute, he likes to go. I found out he likes jazz. He's impartial to John Coltrane. So he sits in the front seat, right? Like his arm up on his paw up on the console. And, we go and listen to jazz. It just he likes to be out with me. He likes, calms him down. But yeah, these aren't dogs you just leave all day at home and then come back from work and expect them to, it's a different breed for sure.
Yeah, they're working dogs.
Yeah. No.
Right.
There are a few exceptions.
They want routine. They like their routines. Mine will look at me. There's certain times of the day I'm out with them. We got 7 acres here. So I take them out. We call it baseball field and we go play them. And they're looking at me, Dad, we're ready to go. They want me out there. They can go out there anytime.
You'll appreciate this. So Storm, now because actually, I don't know if you knew, Liz, we're actually in southern Utah now. I still have an office in Long Beach, but yeah, we've been here for 2 years and we've been getting a ton of snow. So as you can imagine, those like Storm, he won't come in.
Boy.
I'll look at him. He'll be outside. I'll look up, covered in snow. And they're just as happy as can be. But it's funny because now they know treat time, but not only do they know when treat time is, they know how many treats. So you give them one, they'll go away, and then pretty soon he's looking in the back mirror like, where's the other one? It's so funny.
Yeah, it's true.
So here's one. Because it's always good to kind of, as we wind down, we had our success story with you guys for sure. And I think that's, just 3. Like you said in the beginning, Tim, it's hard to believe. I know Darcy's book. Anybody again who's listening to this, you have to watch the YouTube because that's the book his wife wrote, Moonshadow's Memories of Hatchi, who was a dog we got, and he had a good month with us for sure. He was a good boy. And Stormy,
Hatchi was a great dog.
Yeah, he was. He enjoyed his time with us. He chased lizards and always used to stick his head in the bushes and. For that 1 month, he was just awesome. And Moon, she was a little smitten with him, which was kind of funny. She would she's been around boy dogs, but she was smitten with him. It was kind of cute. But Storm, I just think about it sometimes, what a great companion and friend he's been to us. He's just an awesome, gentle soul, real kind dog. And, to think that he was 3 hours away from, it's hard. You don't even want to go there. And I know that's kind of the life you guys see that. So how about sharing maybe 1 or 2 just really great, like when you think success story, I know you've got these on your website, but what's a couple that just really come to mind that just kind of hit the mark that maybe reminds or validates the decision you guys have made to do this?
I think it's a day-to-day success story where hooking up dogs and connecting them with owners and every day there's something new. We had the epileptic dog last year. She was a phenomenal save. We had put her through all the treatments. She had a wonderful foster who took care of all of her needs, Maya. And then she was adopted in Los Angeles by a prior owner who had one of our dogs who was an older dog. And so he especially wanted Maya because she was an older dog and she had a medical problem. I think the medical dogs are the toughest to place, but we never give up hope on them. We always are fighting for them, and we always find a proper home. She was a success story. People don't want to adopt dogs that aren't perfect, and but as a rescue, we're different from kennels in that respect. We don't care what AKC is. We don't care if they're mixed breed. We have a boxer husky right now, and we've had Jindo husky. We've had Malamute, obviously many Malamutes huskies. It's not just the breed. It's we deal with mixed breeds. I think the success story is having families open their hearts to them and willing to provide care, just like you said, for the rest of their lives.
And the best part for me is when I get those pictures and videos out of it was just, they're loving them up, and I do these updates. I live for updates. I love when people send me that stuff. And that's what made us number one in California, is being transparent. I don't see this with other rescues. I really don't. I wish everybody would do that with every dog that they place. Give updates, let's see pictures, and that's the heartwarming. People love that. And I love that. I look forward. I go, please send me your story, how it changed your life, because these huskies change lives. I keep telling people that.
Yeah. And I could just say that it's been a real struggle for us on a personal level, and through the rescue, to be where we are right now. We established our sanctuary in 2015, at the same time we created the rescue, and we were able to obtain a kennel license. So just getting a kennel license is really tough. I think that's a huge success story. We're very proud of that. We're happy that we could provide our home to the sanctuary dogs. We are very happy with the rescue, with the network of people and contacts that we have. We're hoping to broaden that. We want volunteers. We want to raise awareness for dogs in general. We hope that every family has a husky or opens their home to at least 4 dogs. And I think that would make the perfect family, because you can never have just one husky.
No, 100%. You can't. You're right. Hey, so you might remember, I think it was probably a couple years ago. I'm trying to remember now. Maybe it was longer, but you remember that dog Loki? Is that the name, Loki? There was a dog you guys had, and and I got to tell you, I got a little taste of your world because we sent off an email to all my clients, and a couple of them you guys met. They met the dog. It didn't, wasn't a fit, but I had probably 4 or 5 people reach out asking, hey, that we're interested in, and you ended up finding a family with a couple of kids, but that is inspiring, to see people just step up, and really see the value of these dogs. Anyway, I just
and we're here for support. We'll provide food, beds, any comfort, anything that they need. We will provide.
We have a whole shed we built here with food and blanket, whatever you want. We get it donated, and it goes into the shed, our food shed. So it's great.
If people are trying to get a hold of you guys and find out more about your rescue and available dogs, what's the best place for them to go?
ShadowHuskyRescue.com is our website. We also are on Facebook, Shadow Husky Rescue. Tim McVicker, he does a lot on his personal Facebook. We have Instagram.
I go by Master Wolf. You'll see that. It's kind of a trademark,
That's cool. I dig that name. I'm sorry I didn't think of it first.
I really would want to. I love wolves anyway. I'd like to have a wolf sanctuary one day, but I know that's way down the road.
Our
huskies are the main.
Our administrative office is in Menifee, California. Our phone number is 949-290-3217, and that goes directly to Tim's cell phone.
Awesome. Well,
I always text. I can't. If you want to get a hold of me, text me. Don't try calling me.
Yeah, that's what Darcy said. You got right back to me.
And I got, I've got so many people on dogs I got to keep track of. So texting, I go right to my text. I put your name in there, the dog's name. Boom. I got all information that we talked about. So that's really important. You text me.
Well, you guys, I hope well, I think you do know, but clearly you're impacting people's lives in a way that is not just a quick like one day emotional boost, but it's really a lifetime change. I mean, I was sharing with you before we started this, yesterday was Tulok's first day at the groomer, and Storm had to be the one to sort of lead in like Moonshadow did for him. And it's been funny and just really cool to watch him transition his role in the pack. He's the leader now, and just the whole ordeal of them getting groomed and their coach, taken out, and Storm's so funny because he's just in the back of my truck. He was just passed out because it's about a 45-minute drive back, and Chulok's just like, what the hell just happened? He's still trying, and Storm has just crashed. He's like, okay, I remember this. It's been a while. They're great. Our lives, I was telling Darcy on the way home, what would our lives be like without these two? I mean, it just, you don't even want to think about it. A house without a dog, I don't know. It's like that quote on your website. I started off the episode, it's like there's a part of your soul that's not awakened. I think that's really a good way to put it. So, anyway, I just want to thank you both for taking the time to join me today. I know you're busy, and I appreciate you sharing your dogs and your life. And I'm glad that we have a chance to share your story with people, because I think people will be drawn to what you're doing, and particularly these awesome animals, because they're just great. So thanks both. Master Wolf, Liz, thanks for joining me on Upthinking Finance.
Thank you very much.
Well, thanks for having us. Appreciate it.
Emerson Fersch is a registered representative with and securities offered through LPL Financial, member FINRA, SIPC. Advisor services offered through LPL Financial, a registered investment advisor and separate entity from Capital Investment Advisors. The opinions voiced in this podcast are for general information only and are not intended to provide specific advice or recommendations for any individual. To determine which strategies or investments may be suitable for you, consult the appropriate qualified professional prior to making a decision. The guest speakers and the companies they represent are not affiliated with or endorsed by LPL Financial or Capital Investment Advisors. Individual tax and legal matters should be discussed with your tax or legal expert. Economic forecasts set forth may not develop as predicted, and there can be no guarantee that strategies promoted will be successful. All performance referenced is historical and is no guarantee of future results. All indices are unmanaged and may not be invested into directly. There is no assurance that the techniques and strategies discussed are suitable for all investors or will yield positive outcomes. The purchase of certain securities may be required to affect some of the strategies. Investing involves risks, including possible loss of principal.